Hey everybody, Tim here with today's episode of Star Trek Voyager, Season 3, Episode 14, Alter Ego. So this episode was directed by Robert Picardo, which this is now the second episode to be directed by a Voyager cast member. Robert Duncan McNeil, the guy that plays Tom Paris, has directed an episode, and now Robert Picardo. And I love how he directed this episode, and at one point you see the Doctor just kissing random women in the holodeck, and he like kisses a woman, he's like, okay, and then he kisses another one, and like you could tell, like, okay, he's enjoying this part. Overall, this episode was okay. It wasn't great. It wasn't one of the best episodes, but it wasn't bad. Like, compared to the last two episodes, it was pretty good. This is the episode that introduces Calto. It's the Vulcan chess. It's the weird, like, circle sphere thing, and you're supposed to move bars to like make it work better. I don't know. It's interesting, and it's a new game introduced into the Star Trek franchise, so I like that. So this episode is about Harry Kim falling in love with a holographic woman, which is interesting because we've already seen Barclay in one episode, and going back to the Next Generation, we know that Barclay had like hologram like addiction or whatever, where he would change reality and like do stuff with real people but the holographic versions of them, and we saw a little bit of it in Deep Space Nine. So they carried it over into Voyager, and I gotta say, like, so granted, where this series takes place in the future, people are more enlightened, quote unquote, but like I can only imagine if like holodecks and stuff were like that were created today, the amount of like boundary crossing and like stuff like that would be outrageous. And so it's no wonder that people would be addicted to this. So I really like how they kind of do those storylines. And even looking at this episode, came out in 1996, or more than 20 years after this, and people, like, I mean, for lack of a better term, like, there is porn addiction, there is stuff like that. People are addicted to their phones, like everybody gets to update where it's like, you've used this much screen time today, or this week, or this month. So there is all sorts of like electronic addiction, or even games, or the Netflix where it's like, are you still watching? Stuff like that. So it makes sense that people have hologram addiction in the future, and I like how they do stuff like that. I don't think they ever did it quite as well as they should have, but the fact that they touched on it, I really liked. So this episode is about Harry Kim falling in love with a hologram. He goes to Tuvok to basically be like, I want to get rid of these feelings. So he knows he has a problem. And basically the hologram starts getting starts falling for Tuvok, which makes Kim jealous. And so now it's this weird triangle where Tuvok's like, I have no feelings. Well, it all like becomes this big mess, and it turns out that Voyager is going through a nebula, which for Voyager, it's always a nebula. There's always a nebula somewhere. I don't know why. And there's actually a cloaked ship somewhere, and it's this person like projecting herself as a hologram on Voyager, and she's actually real. She's using Tuvok and Harry to basically like kind of get intel and stuff like that. She tries to kidnap Tuvok by the end, and Tuvok's like, I'm never actually going to like you. And so he talks her into like letting them go. Like, I thought it was super interesting in the beginning, but by the time we get to the end, where it is a real woman, and the whole dialogue between Tuvok, Harry, and this hologram, where Harry's like, you're stealing her. Like, by the time we got to the end, I was just like, seriously, like, just stop. Like, I'm done. Like, I was more interested in the addiction aspect than the, oh, it's a real person tricking everybody on board. Like, that kind of lost me. Ensign Vorik makes his now second appearance. So that's kind of cool. It's going to be kind of more important as the series continues. Like I said, so overall, I thought this episode started out great, ended not so great. Like, it was interesting, but it wasn't what I was wanting from it. So for those who have seen this one, what did you guys think about hologram addiction? What did you think about the Kim Tuvok hologram love triangle? Go ahead, let me know in the comments below. Thank you guys for everything, and I will see you guys next time for Coda.